You are tuning in to AWANI Tonight with me, Saraya Mia. Interstate and international travels may be allowed if fully vaccinated. What are the things to consider? And gender gap report. How do we address the challenges? That's coming up. Malaysia approves third vaccine to be used in the national COVID-19 immunization program. The AstraZeneca vaccine supplied through the COVAX facility has received conditional registration by Malaysia's Drug Control Authority. Prior to this, two vaccines, Pfizer-BioNTech and Sinovac, have already been approved. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said the decision over the products supplied by South Korean manufacturer SK Bioscience was made today after the World Health Organization approved it for emergency use listing. Dr. Noor Hisham said the National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency NPRA would continue to monitor and evaluate additional and up-to-date data related to the vaccine. The government will get the latest clinical data from COVID-19 vaccine manufacturer AstraZeneca following reports of the shot's side effects in the United Kingdom. Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Khairi Jamaluddin reaffirms that the government will not decide whether to proceed with the vaccine selection based on only news reports. Thorough analysis will be done by National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency NPRA and Vaccine Selection Technical Working Group TWG to advise Malaysia's COVID-19 committee for the next course of action. The Health Ministry is also studying health-related technical and clinical data following a proposal to allow interstate travel for individuals who have completed the 2 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Adam Baba said the proposal had been discussed at the National Security Council level, with the Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin himself raising the matter. For now, interstate travel is only allowed for individuals involved in the essential services sector and for tourism between states placed under the Recovery Movement Control Order RMCO with strict guidelines. Meanwhile, Pharmanyaga announced yesterday that almost 1 million doses of Sinovac vaccine from China are expected to be administered by the end of April. Company Director Datuk Zulkarnain Mat Yusof said this would be possible after it has obtained certain data to complete the registration application before it is approved by the NPRA. He added that the target would allow for the company to produce 2 million doses of the Sinovac vaccine every month to ensure a stable supply in Malaysia. As of yesterday, a total of 740,226 individuals have been vaccinated under the National COVID-19 Immunization Program. Of the total, 241,758 individuals have completed 2 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. Selangor remained the state that has received the highest number of first doses at 69,852, followed by Perak and Sabah. Meanwhile, the number of vaccine registration via the My Sejahtera application was 7.6 million individuals. Yesterday, Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said those who completed 2 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine may be allowed to travel across states or even abroad. How would this model look like, and what are the things to consider in making this plan viable? Senior Public Health Physician Professor Datuk Dr. Syed Muhammad Al-Junid weighs in.
At the moment, there's no mechanism to harmonize this standard. Even WHO has not come up with a proper guideline on which vaccine that are suitable. They are suitable to be used as an international sort of recognition for people to travel. As far as vaccines that are approved and by each country and also approved by WHO, that should be able to be used as a mechanism to allow them to travel. There will be countries that will have their own rules and regulation, and I think the travelers must check with these countries before they travel, so that they won't actually face problems on that. I think in the next probably a few months there will be more harmonization of this guideline, and this will actually help to reduce the confusion between countries and between regions when people are going to travel.
He added this will be an incentive for people to get vaccinated.
The preparation must be made so that people will be able to have access to the vaccine. Because people will come out and they will request there will be a lot more demand for the vaccine, and we must be prepared actually to provide the access, which means that The current phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 of the vaccination program that has been sort of implemented by the government so far may need to be revised. Maybe the second phase should be open to everybody, not only those who are age 60 and above. Because who are the people who are most likely to actually to respond to this? These are young people who are mobile, who are involved in economic activities. They might be the one that who actually want to travel and want to start their activities, especially economic activities.
He also said that it is important to always abide to strict SOPs when given permission to travel interstate and interdistrict, as vaccines is only one of the many mechanisms to control the pandemic. 18 youths representing the Undi 18 movement filed a judicial review against the Prime Minister, the federal government and the Election Commission today over the postponement of lowering the voting age. The group is seeking a declaration by High Court that delaying implementation of Undi 18 Act is illegal and akin to voter suppression.
The group is also seeking a declaration that 18 to 20-year-olds have a legitimate expectation that they will have the right to vote by this July. It said the government's action in delaying the lowering of the voting age from 21 to 18 to be irrational, illegal, disproportionate and amounts to voter suppression. The postponement of Undi 18 is likely to result in 1.2 million youths unable to vote in the 15th general election if it is called this year. On March 25th, the Election Commission announced that the lowering of the voting age will be implemented after September 2022, even though the bill had been unanimously approved by Parliament in 2019. The EC had blamed the COVID-19 pandemic for hampering its preparations.
Opposition leader Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has lambasted the Perikatan Nasional Government's foreign investment policy. He was commenting on a report that Google and Facebook are funding the installation of 2 substantial trans-Pacific undersea data cables linking Indonesia and Singapore to North America. That, he said, is proof that Malaysia's selective strategy in attracting foreign direct investments has failed. According to him, losing a chance to expand Malaysia's bandwidth is a major loss to the country. He also claimed that the reason why Malaysia was left out of this project, according to Malaysia Internet Exchange, is because of PN government's policy to prohibit foreign ships from servicing and repairing undersea cables in Malaysia. In November 2020, the PN government reversed a decision made by the Pakatan Harapan government to grant an exemption to foreign ships to conduct this work. The time it will take for the gender gap to close grew by 36 years in the space of only 12 months, according to the World Economic Forum's 2021 Global Gender Gap Report. 36 years signifies the largest reversal in gender gap parity in recent times. The report estimates that it will take an average of 135.6 years for women and men to reach parity on a range of factors worldwide, instead of the 99.5 years outlined in the 2020 report. In the case of Malaysia, we fell 8 spots to 112 out of 156 economies, compared to 104 in 2020. When it comes to political empowerment, Malaysia ranks 128th and also 125th in the percentage of women in parliament. What is the stumbling block? We speak to Wanita Muda Negara Chief Nur Aini Hazika Shafi'i.
I think the stumbling block for women to be in politics, mostly because of like the platform and of course opportunities, and this is actually the reason why women, especially the young women, are not so involved or hardly have the interest to be in politics, especially in political party in Malaysia. And of course, when we talk about opportunities and also platform, these two are the two most important thing, especially for young women and even women who want to rise in politics. Because at the end of the day, if you have the platform, if women are given the platform but not opportunity to be in politics, to get the opportunities to have what we can say is like if they are in the platform, for example, the political party, but then they are not given the opportunity to become one of like the candidates for election, for example, to run for public office, to stand for any kind of opportunities. That is actually the stumbling block, because at the end of the day, we have to admit that politics in Malaysia are still male dominated, and a lot of like these opportunities are always given to male, and this is actually the biggest stumbling block to a lot of like women. For example, we have seen a lot of like young women who aspire to be in politics, but they are not given the opportunity. They are hardly seen serious, especially in terms of running public office, to become candidates in election. They're not taken seriously, and this is actually the time for women to support each other. And one of like the challenge, this is actually the challenge, if I may share.
So how can these challenges be addressed? Noraini proposes 2 solutions.
Number one is actually for our counterparts, which is like the male counterparts, to actually be part of this. Men have to be to make sure that they support women who are in politics. If men can give up their seats to women, that is actually one of like the ways for us to address women to be in politics. The thing is that women don't see their opportunities and abilities to be in politics because it is male dominated. So that is the first change that we have to make. Men have to give chances and also opportunities to women for them to be in politics, for them to stand out in politics, for them to actually sit at the front row in politics. And secondly, I think most importantly is for women to support women. At the end of the day, we have seen like we have seen a lot of like women politicians who are up there, raising a lot of like their own perspective, capabilities and whatnot. But we need like more women to actually establish or put forward a lot of like more. Put forward more women, not to just like stand there alone. We need a tribe, to change the perspective that women have to be in politics, and that women can also make changes, and that women are also important. Their perspective, especially women, are hardly seen, to make changes. Women have to be given this opportunity and chances.
At least 51 people were killed and many remain trapped after a Taiwan train derailed in a tunnel after hitting a truck. The crash is the island's worst rail disaster in over 40 years. 490 passengers were on board and rescue efforts are still ongoing. At least 66 survivors are being treated in several hospitals in the surrounding Hualien County. With much of the train still trapped in the tunnel, passengers escaped by scaling doors, windows, and roofs to reach safety. The crash occurred near the Taroko Gorge scenic area around 9 a.m. on a public holiday. Myanmar military face fresh international criticism for killing at least 40 children since the start of the coup. Police used lethal force in efforts to disperse protesters. 543 people were killed, 44 of them children.
The United Nations Security Council today condemned the junta over the deaths and violence. Yesterday, detained leader Aung San Suu Kyi and 4 allies, including Australian Economic Advisor Sean Turnell, were charged for violating the country's Official Secrets Act. Australia demanded the military to immediately release him. Suu Kyi was previously charged for violating COVID-19 protocols, illegally possessing walkie-talkies, and accused by the military of bribery.
China's Sinovac Biotech said its third production plant for its COVID-19 vaccine was ready and had started manufacturing procedures for bulk vaccine ingredient. With it, the company aims to double its annual capacity to 2 billion doses. The third facility in Beijing had started cultivating cells where the coronavirus would be grown through the company did not say when it will actually produce the 2 billion doses. More than 2 100 million doses of Sinovac Coronavac have been delivered globally, with over 100 million doses have been administered worldwide. That is all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Get the latest news updates on COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines from astroawani.com and Astro AWANI app. I'm Saraya Mia. We'll see you next week.